Evening, everyone. I'll just quickly rename myself. I'm Arjo Ganguly. I'm the Associate Dean at ISBF, and I'm taking you through the all-important ISBF admission process today. So try to get a sense of the three stages involved, as well as the tips and the hacks, the strategies that you can devise to optimize your chances of getting into ISBF to pursue either the LSE programs or the King's BSc Psychology. Yeah, I'll be sharing my screen now, and we'll get started right away. All right, here we go. So as you well know by now, we are starting the BSc Psychology Kings from 2025. So currently at ISBF and starting the next year, you'll be studying a curriculum, get assessed by the LSE and King's College London, all culminating towards a degree from the University of London at the end of your 3-year journey. So the ISBF logo addresses this threefold collaboration of ours with the degree awarding body in the University of London. Your degree will state as much. Academic direction being provided by the LSE and King's College London. Just to reiterate the context before we get and dive straight into the thick of the admission process itself, students therefore study the same curriculum as students at LSE and KCL. They write the same summative assessments. For those of you who are from international boards, you might be familiar with the template of studying at any place on planet Earth as part of the same international program, culminating towards assessments that are conducted on the same day for cohorts across the world. And therefore, the degree that you earn has that much more credibility in the world of work or academia because you acquired it by clearing the examinations that have been conducted by the LSE and KCL. These summative assessments are conducted by LSE academicians. Among them, there are close to 20 Nobel laureates in economics. KCL, the newest addition to ISBF's collaborator, who will also handle 100% of the assessment grades, which means that you're working towards a University of London degree with full-fledged academic direction, including assessments and transcripts, most importantly, coming with the LSE and KCL holograms on your transcripts. And all of this at around 1/5 or 1/6, depending on your accommodation choices and how frugal you want to be in your undergrad journey, to around 1/5 or 1/6 of the cost of receiving this education, culminating in the exact same outcome. That's a UOL degree at the world's largest graduation ceremony at the Barbican Centre in London. And all of this while you are studying at one of LSE's top 5 colleges globally, as identified by LSE, and therefore a world global top 10 UG education in economics, management, finance, social and data sciences, but also psychology. So that's the suite of programs that we're offering. The brackets nicely delineate the courses which require math up to 12 versus those that require math up to 10th. BSc Economics, Economics and Finance, and Data Science are 3 programs that are offered from the LSE via UOL that are a little more quantitatively heavy. Consequently, the selection criteria requires having math up to 12. However, in a lease of fresh air and bright news, LSE has now created a system wherein even if you do not have math up to 12th, you can appear for the math aptitude test and enroll and qualify, be eligible to pursue the economics and finance and data science as well. For economics and management, business and management and accounting and finance, having math up to 10th is compulsory. There is no other preference or criterion involved at all. Yeah. So in other words, with the new regulation, you can you may not have math in 11th and 12th, but still be eligible for the top 3 programs on this slide. That's economics and finance, and data science and business analytics. By clearing an LSE conducted math aptitude test. So those of you who were till this point in time up in arms and probably distressed at the fact that you don't have math in 12, but you want to study finance or data science desperately, well, that's your little straw of hope to cling on to. All right. Now, if you pursue the BSc Accounts and Finance, which is one of the 6 LSE programs that we offer, you receive professional certifications and exemptions on these professional certifications, such as ACCA, 7 out of 13 examinations. And I'm told, I'm not an accounts expert, but I'm told that the 8th paper on the ACCA is also a neat overlap with the LSE program that we offer at ISBF, which means that you become ACCA qualified like our students do by the time you're done with your 3-year degree. That's the amount of value you'll be adding to the world of work, which is why your employers will be excited to have someone such as yourself having studied a program like the BSc Honors in Accounting and Finance. Similar exemptions at CIMA and ICAW. Coming to the admission process, there is a 3-step process that we follow. And whoever has questions about any aspect of the discussion so far or over the next 20 minutes or so, hold on, we'll take the questions at the end. So admission process comprises 3 steps here. Completing the online application form is literally where it all begins. Taking the IMET, which is the ISBF entrance test that LSE and ISBF have co-designed to assess your quantitative, your comprehension, and your logical reasoning skills. And finally, if you make it past the entrance exam, then you get shortlisted for the personal interview, where we essentially check your cultural and academic fit with the LSE and KCL programs that we offer. Now I'll take you to step 1's most important, most critical component. But before that, another lease of hope for those of you who felt that you don't have excellent grades as per Indian curricular or Indian educational standards. Well, good news for you is we've had students with 60% in their +2 who have managed to get into an LSE for a master's. There have been several such cases, not one, but that's part of the reason why we are perfectly fine with you having a score of 60% in your boards. Because your 12th standard grade will comprise the most insignificant part of our assessment compared to the other 3 that are on screen. The SOP that you write at stage 1, the entrance exam you take, and the PI hold more value for us than what your percentage, your summative percentage that does not assess your holistic intelligence has to reveal about you. We feel the other 3 stages in the steps of the application process and the admission process, they are a little more holistic and allow us a better window of a vantage point on who you really are. And therefore, the quality education that ISBF offers, we believe, should be accessible to as many Indian pioneering entrepreneurs, potential founders of businesses and leaders as possible. So the most critical aspect of your application form, I'll quickly take you through the aspects of what makes an SOP or a statement of purpose truly purposive. First up, the hygiene checks. I'll not repeat what is on your screen. So take a good close look at what we are looking for in your statements of purpose. There are 2 questions to answer about your vision for yourself, which is really where we want to see your purpose coming through clearly. Your sense of goals, goal setting in the past, goals that you have for yourself in the future, all of those get reflected through an SOP. But you can't take the hygiene factors easily. Can't take them lightly. Remember that ISBF, LSE, and KCL, we are academic institutions, and therefore, because of our belief in research and application-heavy learning, we are looking for statements of purpose that are more academically focused. Yeah. So try to make your statements of purpose as academically focused as possible. And here come a few suggestions your way that you can include. Your previous or current studies, your academic interests and activities, online courses you might have taken, attending lectures, public lectures, guest lectures, online lectures, museum or gallery visits shows that you are someone who likes to learn by doing. Extend it to the world of work. So if you have work experience in the form of placements or internships, talk about those and talk about the takeaways from those in your statement of purpose. Yeah. If you have engaged in volunteering activities, at what level you have and what you have been, doing with your leadership, organizational, managerial skills in student clubs, student societies in school, all of these are fair game as far as the ISBF LSE SOP is concerned. However, your vision needs to be like Arjuna's from the Mahabharata. Your eye needs to be on the prize, and that prize in the case of an SOP here is how aligned it is with the program of your choice. Which of the 6 LSE programs, or if it's the BSc Psychology that you're applying for, and how aligned, how focused your conversation in the SOP is towards that singular goal. That becomes important from our evaluation of your SOP. Something that becomes important in the ISBF admission process because, surprise, surprise, stage and step 3, that's the PI. 80 to 90% of the PI is based on what you write at the SOP stage in the application form. So here's the big idea. Much like LSE and KCL, ISBF is looking for applicants who can engage academically with the subject they're applying for in the statements of purpose. So what do we mean by academic engagement? We want to see how you show your wider engagement with your subject. How you do that is entirely up to you. We're looking for students who can reflect on their experiences through what they write in the SOP, through the academic ideas you might have encountered through the podcasts you listen to, or the public events or gallery visits, or the newspaper conversations with your parents that you have at the dinner table. Yeah. Don't limit yourself to only informal channels of inspiration. This is very important to understand and appreciate. Open yourself up to inspirations from formal points of view as well. And talk about those, talk about the key takeaways. If you have managed to find yourself shortlisted and then selected for a great summer school somewhere while you were in high school, talk about that experience, but also talk about what you took away from it. We don't want to see descriptions and thick details in your SOP. We want to see the takeaway from that conversation, the takeaway from that particular event in your life. Hence, do not list your achievements. Show us evidence that you have reflected on what you have taken away. And if you can talk about it in an academic manner, well, nothing better than that. So what can get you to think like an academic? What can get you to think like a student who is curious, reflective? Ask yourself these questions and try to answer them in the ISBF application form. Why have you chosen the course? What exactly attracted you to the subject? Are there aspects of the subject that you particularly found interesting or having a theoretical or academic gap in that you want to plug with your input, your original, genuine contribution? Is there that particular slice of life that you want to explore further through the area that you choose to focus on at the undergraduate level, and, well, chart a path towards your academic or professional journey using ISBF and LSE or KCL as your stepping stone? How do the 3 institutions or 2 fit into your scheme of things? What are the big issues in your subject? What do you find most interesting about those issues? Maybe there was some one or something in particular that inspired you to dig deeper about an aspect of maybe behavioral economics or consumer behavior, or the role of AI in academic writing and teaching. What are your thoughts on these topics? Ask yourself these questions. Take a day out, take a weekend out for yourself, sit down with a cup of coffee and reflect on these answers to the questions that are on your screen. The fruit of that reflective exercise will be the SOP that we're talking about. What have you done to develop your subject interest? If it's accounting and finance, for example, or BSc psychology, for example, outside of your school studies constraints, outside of syllabus's limits. Yeah. What kind of online material have we explored, or you might have even created around the subject? Yeah. We are looking for such creative ideas. We're looking for such influx of fresh blood, as it were, into what the already read LSE and KCL have to offer. Yeah. And for those of you who have excelled or continue to excel at extracurriculars and co-curriculars, we at ISBF, we believe that excellence in anything can increase your potential. Therefore, we offer ECA, CCA, and sports category admissions as well. Recognition of excellence is not limited to just academics at ISBF. So we extend it to the LSE undergraduate programs and also the King's UCL, the King's BSc Psychology program as well. Yeah. More about that in the application process. But guidelines when it comes to talking about ECA and CCA and the SOP, I'll repeat what I said earlier. We at ISBF, as well as at LSE and KCL, are more interested in your academic interests. And therefore, we don't recommend more than 20 to 30% of your statement of purpose to be spent discussing extracurriculars and co-curriculars. If you have indeed participated in co-curriculars and extracurriculars, you'll always have the opportunity of applying via the ECA category that exempts you from the IMET, by the way, and you appear directly for the trials and the interview. But if you are a student who's applying without the ECA category, in your SOP, you should not devote more than 30% to your co-curricular or extracurricular achievements. But let's say you are struggling to do that. I'll give you a quick hack to reach a decision for yourself. The question you should ask yourself is whether that particular experience of yours could be a sporting achievement, could be a musical achievement, could be an essay contest, could be an academic laurel. Does that align with the program of your choice? Does that activity, for example, it could be an MUN, maybe some of you could be MUNers on the call right now. Yeah. But if you're applying for, let's say, the BSc Honors Economics and Finance, being part of the ECOSOC at an MUN is a more important and interesting talking point than just talking about your participation in MUNs. I hope that was clear for everyone to understand how you can filter your achievements and your laurels to only those that make sense in the light of the given application at the given destination. This is something that will not change to the academic statements of purpose that you write later on in life as well. But it's true for the ISBF application form as well. Coming to step 2, which is the IMET. Well, first up, the structure of the IMET. The paper consists of 3 sections, total 100 marks, and you'll have 120 minutes on the clock to complete it. Sections 1 and 2 comprise 50 MCQs. That's worth a total of 3/4 of your entire grade from the IMET. The 1/4 is the long answer that you have to write in response to the passages given to you. There are several ways that you can avoid the IMET as well, such as the one that I already told you about. If you're applying through the ECA, CCA category, then your trials will replace the IMET, but you'll still have a personal interview. If you are not applying on the ECA, CCA category, if you have a composite SAT score of 1280 within the 5-year validity period, or more, of course, and with at least 85 percentile in CUET and IP MAT, you'll be exempted from the IMAT. Yeah. I'm on the webinar. I'll call you back later. Just give me a minute. So hope you have soaked in the exemptions well there. ECA-CC exemptions, but also SAT score, as well as CUET and IPMAT. Yeah, 85 there, and a SAT of 1280 or above. Coming to section 1, which is mathematical reasoning and quantitative ability. A good close look at the guidelines on your screen. So for those of you who have lost touch with your 12 standard math, or 10 standard math rather, yeah, a quick revision of some of these will bode you really well. Yeah, but the math till 10th is what we're testing for. If you're applying for any of the more quant heavy programs, such as BSc Eco, Eco Finance, or Data Science, then at the personal interview stage, along with the questions on your SOP from the application form stage, you will be asked a few questions from the 11th and 12th math syllabus as well. Yeah. Topics that are unrelated to the ones mentioned in the second para, or those which are not part of the 10th standard math syllabi of major Indian boards, they need not be prepared for IMAT. So do not waste your time on things that you do not see covered in the second para here. That's section 1. Section 2, which is logical reasoning and data interpretation. If you are a logical person to begin with, you will enjoy this section. You would do well to read widely with a spirit of inquiry. Try to understand what you read. Try to make inferences. Try to deduce facts. Try to deduce and synthesize facts from arguments. And the exercise that I suggested earlier about your SOP, that kind of an exercise is what you should carry out more often in order to truly improve at section 2 of the ISBF entrance exam. This is not vastly different from logical reasoning as an entrance exam template. So it's important to be mentally fresh and alert when you're attempting this section, because you need to think analytically, and that's an understatement. Yeah. So I'm also told that a fair amount of practice with similar logical reasoning questions from maybe the ISBF sample papers, as well as other logical reasoning questionnaires you might find online. No harm in practicing as much as you possibly can, just to get into the groove, the mode of logical reasoning and inferential logic. Yeah, that's my biggest recommendation for section 2. Section 3, which is the analysis and written articulation test. It's important to understand that LSC's as well as KCL's examination and assessment system is entirely written. That is how the parity of assessment standards is guaranteed. Naturally, therefore, when we select students to study the LSC programs or the KCL program from next year, we are looking to test how well you can articulate your arguments coherently. So this last section tests you on that critical skill, that critical communication skill that we're looking for. Yeah, and the system will test you for the next 3 years on how well you can illustrate your ideas argumentatively, not descriptive. which is why, remember the conversation that we had at the SOP stage, we're not looking at description thick or description rich SOPs. We're looking for analytical, takeaway heavy SOPs. Similarly, the essay you will write here in response to the paragraphs that are given in front of you, it tests your reading comprehension, sure, but it also tests how well you're able to assimilate ideas and articulate them in your own words. So copy pasting from the paragraph that is offered to you in this section 3, that is criminal. That's as good as signing up for a 0 out of 25. Yeah. So remember to always ensure that you are writing out the response to section 3 in your own words. Yeah. Try to be as analytical. Try to break it down into an introduction, into a justification, into a criticism, and maybe a conclusion or a way forward. That's always a useful template to have in one's mind. If you were to study with us, then we'll have multiple conversations on each of those aspects of answer writing. But for now, for the analysis section, try to be as structured, systematic, and argumentative as you can. We don't want to see blocks of text. We don't want to see chunks of text in a paragraph that's 400 words long. We want to see broken down, systematic paragraphs that cogently talk about specific aspects, but yet come together in a wholesome form, in the form of a beautiful essay. That's what you're testing for in the IMET. Coming to stage 3 of the application process, the final stage, if you make it past the IMET, co-designed by LSE and ISBF, then you get to participate in the ISBF personal interview. Yeah. What's the key objective, you may ask? Well, it's to identify and select such candidates who have the right attitude and motivation, but also with academic curiosity and effective communication, which are likely to make them a good fit for our LSE and King's College London programs. That is the objective of the ISBF personal interview. Yeah. So what are the parameters that we are testing for? The parameter number 1 is communication, both written and oral. We will look at the quality of your SOP that I stressed on earlier, as well as the interview conversation. We will assess. We will not ask you about yourself for the sake of it. We do want to know who you are, but your response to your "who are you," that particular start-off question, where you talk about yourself, that's where we would like to keep our sort of measuring tables out and our measuring handles out, because that's where we'll test for the quality of your communication. And as I said earlier, not only for the LSE and King's College examinations or assessments, but also for placements and ambassadorships and life projects and internships, written and oral communication is perhaps our most important parameter out of all the ones here. Your attitude in general, as well as in particular to learning, is something that we like testing through asking you questions such as, what do you do if you don't understand something in your class? What are your courses of action, plans of action? What are your tried and tested, smart or deep study strategies? All of these tell us about your curiosity quotient. So you observe your tone, your humility, especially if you don't know the answer to a question or are not able to think it through. Yeah. Because we are not looking for miscreants. We're not looking for slackers. We're not looking for unconstructive students who may negatively influence others. We're looking for such students who become a culture fit with the institutions that are ISBF, LSE, and King's College London. So your motivation to be at ISBF and to pursue the chosen program becomes a very important test for us. We look at, you are right again in your guess, at your SOP, and we ask why exactly you've chosen the program that you have identified as your preference 1 versus your preference 2. What exactly are your career aspirations and how does ISBF fit into your scheme of things? And your preparedness for the interview. Do not take this lightly. A personal interview is a platform that gives you the chance to manage your impression. It is one of those few opportunities you'll ever have to boast about yourself and not be judged negatively for it. Because, let's be honest, there are very few opportunities in life. Things that come to mind are hoardings and billboards and ads. But interview is yet another such situation in life that gives you a chance to socially show off. Try to use that to your advantage. So when we test for your motivation, we're testing for the soundness of your motivation by exploring your rationale behind these choices, your career aspirations, the program of your choice. Why? The why is more important for us. LSE's motto, for those of you who might be keen, is to understand the causes of things. And the ISBF personal interview tries to do nothing else except is to understand the cause of you. Yeah. Hence, the last thing that we want to do to you is test your ignorance. We want to test your knowledge. We are not going to treat the personal interview as a forum to put you in a corner. That is not the objective. The objective is to have a dialogue, is to have a conversation with you. And hence, if you assimilate and internalize this pro tip that the ISBF PI tests for your knowledge and not your ignorance, it will give you a whole different point of view on the conversation that we have had so far. We are judging you for sure. Of course. It's an evaluation. But the judgment will take these constructive forms, along with perhaps the other very important parameter, along with communication skills, your academic curiosity. So if you are appearing for the program of your choice, then you can certainly expect application-centric questions on these kinds of topics that are on your screen. If you are applying for eco-finance or eco, you can certainly expect, like I had mentioned earlier, questions on the rationale behind differentiation. You will not be given a problem on differentiation and asked to solve it. You'll be asked the rationale behind graphing, the rationale behind probability. Similarly, accounts and finance, you might be tested in basic accounts or basic arithmetic, profit and loss, for example. Yeah. Eco-management, you might be asked questions on basic economics, the idea of slope, intercept, curve shift, and so on and so forth. Yeah. If you haven't studied eco, you will not be asked these questions. That's the point I'm trying to make to all of you on the call here. That if in your 12th standard, you did not have economics, but you want to study economics and management, or you want to study economics and finance, then you will not be asked questions from economics at the personal interview. You'll be asked questions that test how well you can apply your understanding of what you have read or studied. If you had, for example, business studies and not eco, which is unlikely, but hypothetically speaking, then you'll be asked questions on applications of Fayol's principles in an Amazon warehouse. Yeah. If you had eco, and let's say the panel asks you for what your favorite subject was, and you say it was indeed economics, and they might just ask you a question about your understanding of the application of law of demand through the lens of behavioral economics, which would probably completely upturn the assumptions of the classic economics law of demand. Yeah. So expect questions that test your ability to talk logically or talk in a manner that is argumentative, much like academic writing is. Yeah. If you're able to pull that off, you have aced the ISBF personal interview. Yeah. If you're applying for the basic psychology, the PI will test you on applications of psychology. Will not ask you for definitions on any of the things that you see on your screen. But we will check for your ability to apply what you know or what you have learned in the past. And the final pro tip that will hold you in good stead for the ISBF interview, research about ISBF, talk to ISBF's current students, talk to ISBF's alumni, talk to our faculty members, line up a conversation with me. Through the information points that you identify and the information that you gather, try to demonstrate knowledge about the institution, the programs, and a collaboration with LSE and King's College London. When you talk about what excites you about the curriculum, it should not be empty talk. It should be based in your information, based in your knowledge, and also your aspiration to be in such an academic system. We need to understand that you want to be challenged as a learner, as a thinker, that you are willing to be pushed to be placed at a better place when you're looking for work. We need to understand that you are excited to apply to write your statements of purpose for a master's application while you are in third year. So hence, the more information you acquire about ISBF from ISBFs, all of these information points, do not trust the internet, trust people. All right. So that is what I wanted to leave you with. And last word on the scholarships. There are tons of scholarships, some of which are here in my presentation. You'll find more information about this if you speak to the admissions team. There's a chairman's merit-based scholarship that offers up to a 50% reduction of your tuition fees. There is the Devansh Jain Diversity Scholarship, the Rikant Pitti Scholarship for Eco-Finance Leaders, the Ashish Mahapatra Scholarship for Young Entrepreneurs, the Deepak Gupta Merit-Based Scholarship, the Ashish Agarwal India-Bound Scholarship, the Jagannath Scholarship for Outstanding Extracurriculars, the ISBF Need-Based Scholarship, and the ISBF Scholarship for Women. Yeah. So all of these are your ways and means of getting into a system, the UK education system right here in India, at 1/5 or 1/6 of the cost of acquiring the same degree, writing the same examinations, while being right here in Delhi compared to London. So I'll end for now and I will take questions. We have our first question. Well, the word count is anywhere between 300 to 400 for each of the questions. There'll be two questions to answer there. Yes, Arshita, you may post your question in the Q&A. But Aditi, when you go to the ISBF application form, it will give you a prompt on the character count or the word count as well. But from what I remember, it should be between 200 to 400 words for each question. Yeah. Akshita, I hope you're putting your question in the chat. Thank you, Akshita. Acceptance rate is as steep as it is at LSE. At LSE, you're competing for, we're competing against 16.5 to 17. That's the average for one seat. 16 to 17 other candidates vying for one seat. At ISBF, there are only 60 seats in the LSE programs. And with the Kings, that number goes up to a total of 100. And the number of applications will be more than 1,300 to 1,400. So we're looking at 1 out of every 14 or 13 students. Yeah. Which is the reason why I shared the insights that I had to share with all of you. Because at least the ones that are on the call, you will have a head start compared to competition when you're appearing for the ISBF selection process. Hope that answers your question, Nakshita. Any other questions? Nakshita, you will receive the email notification on only if you get shortlisted for the PI. Yeah. The IMET, which is scheduled for 21st, I believe. After that, only the shortlisted candidates will be sent the notification email about the personal interview. Yeah. Any other questions? Hi, Aman. Yes, if you have scored 1280 or more on the SAT, you will not have to write the ISBF entrance examination. You'll be directly called for the personal interview. That is correct. Yes, Aman, that is correct. Your performance in the personal interview, along with your statement of purpose and your 12th standard grade, those three will become our key parameters. Yeah. Rest assured, your 12th standard grade will get the least amount of importance among the parameters that I just listed out. Any other questions? Right? Great. If there are no further questions, then it was wonderful interacting with all of you and lovely to hear all your questions. All the best to all of you about the application. Okay, there is a question coming in. Does a degree earned in ISBF will have the same weightage from on campus? I don't exactly understand, Roha, what you mean by on campus, but the degree earned from ISBF will be from University of London. That's what your degree will state. Your degree will clearly state the fact that you are a University of London student, having received and cleared examinations conducted by the London School of Economics and Political Science. It is those two institutions on your degree that will give your degree wings. If you want to apply for jobs, if you want to apply for masters abroad, for all of these and more, that degree, which is well known in universities for more than 100 years now, the University of London degree is more than 100 years old. Yeah. On-campus degree from LSE is an LSE product. The LSE student receives a degree from LSE as well as the University of London degree. But because the degree that the ISBF student is from the University of London directly, they both attend the same graduation ceremony. But the LSE student and the ISBF student receive their University of London degree together. Yeah. So, which is the reason why, to answer Akshita's question, it is these factors that allow for ISBF students to receive the kind of placements and internships that they receive. If you are a first year student, we understand your tastes and preferences when it comes to live projects or internships in your first month, and you begin your internships in first year itself. By the time you enter third year, not only are you eligible for placements abroad, but also placements in India, not only are you eligible for internships abroad, but also internships in India. Why is that? Because over the last 2 years, which is your first year and your second year, you have been made placement ready through our placement module, through the live projects that you have participated in, and through the internships that we have secured for you. Yeah, that is what makes you job ready. That makes you ready for the world of work, even as you are beginning your third year. Yeah, great. So I see a question from Aman again, which is, I've studied physics, chemistry, and math in high school. What kind of questions can I expect in my personal interview? And you're applying for economics and finance. If you're applying for economics and finance, Aman, you'll be asked questions on math, such as applications or the rationale behind differentiation or the rationale behind slope shift and those other conversations that we had during the webinar itself. Those kinds of application-centric math questions will come your way in an eco-finance, data science, or economics interview. Yeah. When it comes to practical learning, LSE leads the world, and because our faculty members get trained directly from the LSE, and we are teaching the LSE programs here, there is tons of practical learning, from dropshipping challenges to Shark Tank challenges to hackathons as your assessments, you name it. So the learning that you're talking about happens because we treat assessments as learning experiences. You might have been in systems that have considered your assessments of your learning. Yeah. An assessment of your learning in the form of a test. Yeah. At ISBF, the assessments that you'll witness, thanks to our understanding of and training by the LSE, are assessments as learning experiences that become assessments for learning. And that's a simple turn of phrase with huge implications and consequences for practical learning, Akshata. Because when we think of assessments, and therefore what we think of classroom teaching or tutorial sessions, we think in terms of applications. We think in terms of the curriculum is designed in the framework being applications from research. So practical learning is fair to say almost synonymous with what LSE and King's College London offer. Aditi has a question. When is the right time to apply for early applications? I'm currently in 11th grade. The first round, the admission round, it's important to be part of the first round for a particular insider reason that I'm revealing to all of you on the call. And that is the scholarship amounts that we tend to earmark are the heaviest in round one. The scholarship pool progressively shrinks with every passing round. So if you're targeting round one, which is the early round applications, that happens in January. Your application deadline is 15th of January, as I mentioned earlier. So try to get your application in maybe just before Christmas, around the new year, or in the first week of January. That is what you should target. The closer you get to the application deadline, the more hasty you will make your statement of purpose. I speak from experience, and I've seen this countless times with my students. They have compromised on the quality of their SOP because they took the entire process too late. Don't commit that mistake. Learn from others' experience and finish your applications in time so that you are able to avail, in case you make the cut past the PI, you can avail of the biggest scholarship pool that we have on offer among the subsequent rounds as well. Yeah. So Aditya, in your case, we're looking at a December 2025, late December 2025 application. That would make sense for an early application. Yeah. Any more questions? All right. Fair enough. We'll now call it a day if there are no further questions. And again, I'll repeat myself. All the best for the ISBF admission process, but in particular for your SOP as well as your IMET. Because only after then, after these two hurdles are crossed, do you appear for the all important, critical, final hurdle, the personal interview. So get your strategies in order, get your motivation in place, and let's hope to see you on the other side. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.